Thank you. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Namaskars, pranams, good morning to everybody. Pujya Swami Bodh Swarupanand Maharaj Ji, Pujya Swami Shuddhidananda Maharaj Ji, who has come all the way from Advaita Ashram in Mayavati, Pujya Swami Yukteshanand Maharaj Ji, dear teachers, and all the volunteers for today's program. First and foremost, I would like to thank both Swarupanand Swamiji for inviting me for today's program. And it's so heartening to see such a large gathering of teachers for the Value Education Workshop for Teachers. I will tell you some 3 short stories, and which basically try to give the essence of what the workshop is today about. And I understand that after Swami Shuddhidanand Maharaj Ji's talk, which all of us are, including myself, we are all looking forward to very eagerly to hear Swamiji give his talk on human values. And I think, Swamiji, we can have some questions from the audience as well. Yeah, anything that you would like to ask from me or from the other people on the dais about, and especially from me about governance, about values in government, or about anything about education policy, I'll be happy to take questions as well. So the first story has to be from Swami Vivekananda's life itself. So in the book of reminiscences of Swami Vivekananda, there's a very, very interesting and a very touching and a moving story about Swamiji. This story dates to 1898, and it is written by Mr. K.S. Ghosh, who was a 10th class student in Devghar High School. Devghar is a small town in my native state of Jharkhand. I'm from Ranchi, Jharkhand originally, so my native state. So Devghar is a small town. It's a very famous town it has a very famous Shiva temple there. So Mr. Ghosh that time was a 16, 17-year-old boy. And Swamiji was not keeping very great health, so he had come there to take some rest and to recover his health. And the principal of that school happened to be the classmate of Swamiji. So he told his students that if you are interested in meeting Swami Vivekananda in flesh and blood, this is the time. So if you can find some time, go and meet him and try to talk to him and take his blessings. So a couple of students, Mr. Ghosh and one more gentleman, they went to Swamiji when he was going out for his morning walk. And they thought that Swamiji will talk to these kids about Advaita, philosophy and all that. But Swamiji was continuously talking to them about, have you done your exercise? Do you eat properly? Do you ensure that your surroundings are clean? And these kinds of things. And finally, when they reached near a small stream near the school where Swamiji was taking a walk, Swamiji stood and started looking at the shoes of Mr. K.S. Ghosh. And this 16, 17-year-old boy was very nonplussed. He was wondering, what's wrong with my shoes? Why is Swamiji looking at my shoes? And then Swamiji tells him that, my boy, your shoelaces are not tied correctly. The 2 ends of the laces should point in the opposite directions. Both the shoelaces are in the same direction. So you please tie your shoelaces properly. So this boy unfortunately had come from a rural background. Probably he didn't really know how to tie his shoelaces. So he was completely frozen. He didn't know what to do. He thought, I have tied my shoelaces properly. Swamiji told him a second time. He still didn't know what to do. So after that, Swamiji himself bent forward and opened his shoelaces and tied this boy's shoelaces in the right way. So this Mr. Ghosh, he writes that after Swamiji did this, he suddenly realized what has happened, and he immediately fell at the feet of Swamiji and took his blessings. So this is actually a very, very, very small incident, but like in the life of Swami Vivekananda, every incident has such a deep learning for all of us. The first thing, of course, is how every small thing is important in our lives. Something as trivial as tying our shoelaces also has to be done with Shraddha, as Swamiji was saying in his introductory talk. That even a thing that looks so insignificant as how you tie your shoelaces, so that is something that our teachers have to inculcate in our children. That things that look very, very trivial. For example, Swamiji said, are you making your bed in the morning after you get up? So we have to teach our children that this is something, things that look unimportant, things that look small, also in the totality of things are really very, very important things. This is one lesson that I take from this small incident in Swamiji's life. And of course, the second and even more important lesson is the importance of humility. That a person of Swami Vivekananda's stature could actually bend down and open the shoelaces and tie the shoelaces of a 16-year-old boy, again shows the amount of reverence and the amount of compassion Swamiji had for all human beings and the kind of humility that he had. So again, this is something that I would like to leave a thought with all our teachers, that humility is something that we have to teach all our children. And if we are to be a humane society, I think humility is the foundation of a humane society. Of course, the funny part of this story comes now. So this boy actually goes back to his hostel, and there the other kids don't allow him to open his shoes, because the shoes have been sanctified by the touch of Swami Vivekananda. And all the other children start coming to him and touching his shoes, because they also want to touch the shoes that have been sanctified by Swami Vivekananda's touch. And this boy had to keep his shoes on until pretty late in the night, until all the other children were able to touch his shoes and take the blessings. So this was the first story I thought I'll share. The second story is a more personal story. So I studied in a school called St. Xavier's School, Ranchi. It was a school run by Catholic missionaries. And our school principal was a Belgian priest, and his name was Father Lombard. And Father Lombard was a person who epitomized service and tyaga, even though he was a Belgian. And there is something that I still remember, even though it's almost 40 years have passed since that incident took place. So Father Lombard one day told us in the assembly that he has got a telegram. We didn't have emails and all these things 40 years back. So he got a telegram from his mother saying that, not from his mother, from maybe one of his family members, about his mother, saying that his mother is very sick and she's in the hospital. And she was, of course, an elderly lady. Our Father Lombard that time was in his, maybe in his late 40s, early 50s. So obviously his mother would have been in her 70s at least, if not in her 80s. So he got a telegram saying that your mother is very sick, but your mother also tells you that you don't have to come back. You continue with the work that you are doing. You are running a very important, you are the principal of a very important institution. Your work as the principal is more important than for you to come back and take care of me. And don't worry about me, I am being taken care of by the other family members, so you please continue with your work. So Father Lombard actually came to the if I remember correctly, we were probably in grade 7th or 8th that time. So he came to the assembly. There were tears in his eyes, and he said that my mother has directed me not to come. After 3-4 days, again he came back to the assembly, and he said that his mother has unfortunately passed away, and he has to go now. He took a couple of weeks off, and he went for the funeral services of his mother. And again, so something that for all of us, and for teachers, and for all people in responsible positions. So again, it shows the importance of service. And as Swamiji was saying just now, that if children learn from what they see from us, it's not how much that what we teach them in the classrooms, but what they learn is from the conduct of parents, from the conduct of teachers. So I thought I will share this small story also as to how people who are so dedicated to the service that they are doing. I will end with whenever I tell these, we have a son who is 19-year-old. So whenever I tell these stories, so he always tells me that, Papa, you tell all these stories about Swamijis and fathers and all monks. So it's very difficult to do all these things. Yeah, we are all normal human beings. So you tell us some stories that can be emulated by normal people also. So this is a story about a person who's not a monk. So something that all of us can probably attempt to emulate. So when our son was in grades 11th and 12th, he was having tuitions for physics, chemistry, and maths. So one of his tuition teachers was Mr. Govt, who was his physics tuition teacher. So in Bangalore, a lot of teachers also would be taking tuition, which is a good thing, which is not a bad thing actually. Yeah, and the good teachers in Bangalore actually charge pretty hefty amounts for tuition. Their charges are by the hour. So if you teach for 1 hour, you charge X. If you teach 2 hours, you charge 2X. If you teach 3 hours, you charge 3X. If you teach 4 hours, you charge 4X. And this is an accepted norm. And again, this is a market's response to my economics training keeps coming back to me. This is a market response to the failure inside the classrooms. That's another story. That's not the topic of today's discussion. But this is fine. So this is a common phenomenon. All of us with children in senior classes in school are aware of this. So one of his teachers, his physics teacher, used to teach him on average 3 hours every day, 3 hours in a week. 3 hours per class, twice a week. And he used to always bill us only for 2 hours. Sometimes when the exams used to take place, he used to teach him for 4 hours, 4.5 hours. But the billing used to be, sometimes it even went to 5 hours. But the bill used to always be for 2 hours. So this went on for 2 years, the whole of class 11th. So we used to be in the days of Phone Pay and Google Pay. So the Manjunath sir would tell us that, sir, these were the 8 days I taught, 2 hours. This is the bill. And so everything, no conversation, everything on WhatsApp, and the money gets paid in 5 seconds. So at the end of grade 12th, so I used to wonder what's wrong with this Manjunath sir. All the other teachers are charging by the hour. Why is Manjunath sir not charging by the hour? So I said, okay, let's not raise this issue at this point of time. Once our son completed grade 12th, we did a rough calculation of what was the charges per hour, and it was a significant amount of money. And whatever difference was, we actually transferred that money to again through Phone Pay or Google Pay. So he took great offense at that. And he sent me a long WhatsApp. And I first, of course, sent him a message. I told him that, Govindraj sir, This is, I think, on the lower side, because of course I haven't kept an exact track, and it's been over 2 years. But on average, I think this is what payment should have been made from our side to you. So kindly, I know you don't want this, but kindly accept it. This is what is genuinely due to you. So he wrote back a very long message to me saying that no, this is not right, and yeah, I have done. I've already been paid for what I have done. And then finally he said that. Then of course we protested. So this back and forth went on for a bit. Then he said that, sir, please understand, I teach him only for 2 hours. The other 1.5 hours, he's actually doing the work at his own level. So I don't need to be paid for that. When I am teaching only for that time, I need to be paid. But of course, we finally told him that no, that is not how the normal calculation is done. As long as you are spending that time with the child, whether it's you teaching or he solving the problem at his own level, you need to get paid. So again, and what I told Manjunath sir was that all the physics that you have taught him, mechanics and electromagnetism and static electricity and all this stuff. So the children will forget about all of this in a few years' time. They will be doing their own things. But what you have taught him by not taking what was due to you and being satisfied with what you got is something that he will remember all his life.